What lies in our future? The only potential outcomes that I can see are the greatest recession in world history or a depression. And could that depression become the greatest depression? Getting to the main page, the news at Gold Silver. This story here from Jeff Clark, this is really worth reading. The setup for a long and deep crisis is in place. Other news, a former JP Morgan economist, we are heading toward a Weimar Republic inflation. Well, I got news for him. It was a hyperinflation, not just an inflation. And yes, we are heading there. However, as long as people are scared, velocity of currency will slow and the deflation that we are in will continue, except it isn't just deflation. It's the indeflation that I talked about, inflation and deflation simultaneously. The majority will be toward deflation. So the economy as a whole will be deflating. However, certain items, like we're already seeing it in some food products, certain items are going to be inflating. Mostly it's going to be the stuff that you really need that's going to be soaring in price. Other items are going to be things that suffer supply chain disruptions and they become very hard to get. And those things will soar in price. Fed members not looking for snapback economic recovery. So the Federal Reserve is finally sort of catching up to what's going on, and they realize that the economy isn't just going to come back as soon as lockdown ends. This is going to stretch out for a very long time. Hedge fund manager Paul Tudor Jones says that this will be the second depression if we remain in lockdown. Well, I have a feeling that already we're in for the second depression. We've had a contraction of GDP that in just a couple of months that is about the same as the Great Depression. We're going to have the contraction then was 33%, and I believe we're already at around 40. And so this is going to be a depression, most likely. It could be that it's just a severe recession if the next quarter is not that bad. But the economic data that came out in the last quarter, that was there's 13 weeks in a quarter, and the data of the last 2 weeks not only wiped out the first 11 weeks, but it offset that into severe negative territory. So this next quarter, the data is really going to look bad. I have a feeling that we're entering right now a depression, and that it has the potential of becoming the greatest depression. So that, it'll be a depression even if we stop the lockdown today, this second. It's sort of too late for that. Now, in a video a little while back, I explained that the society that wins this thing is the society that can balance the spread of this virus with we want to limit that spread as much as possible. But you can't shut down the economy. Making an emotional, short-term decision that the politicians are all making across the world is very dangerous, and it'll come back to haunt them with damage that will take decades to recover from. So it's the winners are the societies that balance the economy with controlling the spread of that virus. And here is the proof of that. This is from the 2019 Economic Freedom of the World report from the Fraser Institute. And basically, it's showing the difference. There's 167 countries now that produce reliable economic data every year. They take that data, they stick it in a spreadsheet, and there's subjects such as the size of the government compared to the size of the economy, the levels of taxation, the fairness of their laws and their legal system, the soundness of their currency, whether they're typing a bunch of currency into existence or not. That's a very important factor. And then economic freedom. How easy is it to start a business? Can you import and export anything from around the world? Can you go anywhere in the world, invest in anything you want, bring back the proceeds without the government saying, oh, no, you can't do that, or you can't do that without giving us our cut. We've got a big penalty on that for our cut. But what you see here is that countries with greater economic freedom have substantially higher per capita incomes. This is very important. And there's a big difference here. The drop from, if you take all of the data from all those countries for the categories that I just told you about, and you put them in a spreadsheet and you hit sort, this amazing stuff happens. You find that the economies that are where the government is controlling things and trying to make everybody equal end up in poverty, and they are the least free. That or dictatorships. And the economies that have the smallest governments compared to their GDP and the most freedom, where you're allowed to do as many things as possible, and it's not difficult for somebody to open up a business and they don't burden you with too much reporting and compliance and taxation and redistribution of wealth. When they're trying to make everybody equal and they're taking from anybody that has a successful business or any prosperous business person and then redistributing to another group of people, that tends to bring them from here to here. And there's a 40% reduction in income in the second quartile here. So this is the top 25% in that spreadsheet. This is the next 25%. Now, the reason I bring this up is a month or two ago, I did a video where I had some calculations in it on the number of deaths that could be caused by the economic consequences of the what I call the Batman Wu flu, because there's certain words I don't want to say in my videos so that I don't get censored. The Batman Wu flu is because of the origins of the current global health problem. But here's how it lines up. This is the life expectancy is over 14 years longer in countries with the most economic freedom than countries with the least. There is a 5.3-year difference between this first quartile and the second quartile. And if you take that 5.3 years times the 330 million people in the United States, divided by their current lifespans, you end up with the equivalent of killing 22, you're losing the amount of lifespan that is the equivalent of killing 22 million people today. Now, that's if our incomes drop by 40%. During the Great Depression, it was 33%, and this could be the greatest depression. And what is causing it is a lot of the decisions that politicians are making, and they have to balance this based on data. They're making a long-term, we're making short-term emotional decisions that have long-term economic consequences, and these are the consequences. Right now, the health problem that the world is experiencing in the United States, it has killed 80,000 people. 22 million people is 300 times that amount. It's huge. The societies that win are the societies that strike the balance between limiting the spread of the virus and not damaging the economy. On the radar, Las Vegas, new cameras were installed at the Wynn and Encore, and they have fever detection and facial recognition capabilities. But we're told that they can't read your thoughts yet. One of the Glenn Greenwald, one of the creepiest and most dystopian things I've seen since the pandemic began, a terrifying camera-equipped, remote-controlled robots in a Singapore park to, for now, warn about social distancing. So I'm going to take you to what this looks like live. So this is the robot, and these robots are made by American war contractors, weapons contractors, American, they call it defense industry contractors. No, this is war, and it's turning into population control. is what it's turning into. So, take you back to the beginning of this video. Watch the fear that people have. They don't want to get near it.
Let's keep Singapore healthy. For your own safety and for those around you, please stand at least 1 meter apart. Thank you.
Now, these robots are originally designed to be able to carry weapons. So can you imagine this thing with guns and tasers and potentially little micro drones? This, like I said, this is a war item, and it's also a population control item. In the future, our lives are going to be very different than they are today. Just look at the fear. I want to welcome the 2,917 new subscribers, and if you subscribed recently, please go back and hit that notification bell, and you will get notified when we come out with a new video. I want to remind you that we always appreciate a thumbs up on our videos, and I want to give you a gift. Go to goldsilver.com/freebook and download a free copy of my book. It's just a gift for being a new subscriber to the channel. I want to welcome you. Chart of the day, and this is from Jeff's article, Jeff Clark. Now, it's from Goldman Sachs Investment Research, and Goldman Sachs, in my opinion, they did this chart wrong. Time in charts always reads from left to right, and they have today and 10 years ago, and today and 10 years ago. So this isn't the way to do it. However, the data is what's more important. This is discretionary fiscal easing, so this is basically stimulus as a percentage of GDP. So, and this is the 3 months of coronavirus, and it's been less than 3 months actually since they really started the fiscal stimulus. This has all taken place in just the past 2 months. And then the 3 years of the global financial crisis. And so it took 3 years to do 5.3% of GDP for the G20 countries. So this is the average for 20 countries, and we're already at 6.1% of GDP here. But when you look at what the U.S. has done, 6.4% in 3 years here, and actually, this is less than 2 months. It's not 3 months. 2 months of GDP, 11.9%. That's 12% of the economy. And I want to remind everybody that creating new currency doesn't create any new goods and services. New goods and services are shrinking while they're creating more of the measurement tool for the goods and services and temporary storage device for value. The US dollar. Currency is not wealth. Currency is the measurement tool for wealth. It's the medium of exchange. It's a temporary storage device for that. So what this does when they create more currency is it redistributes wealth. The new dollars do not have any inherent purchasing power, any intrinsic purchasing power. They get their purchasing power when they type them into existence. Once they are given to somebody by purchasing something, that's how the Federal Reserve gets them into circulation, is purchasing something. They purchase something by fooling the seller. The seller is used to taking dollars, and so they see these new dollars. They don't know that they're new, they just see dollars. And those dollars dilute the currency supply, transferring wealth from everything that is denominated in currency, everybody that is holding currency, transferring wealth from them to the first spenders of the currency. So it is a wealth transfer of 12% of the economy in just 2 months. 12% of the annual GDP has been redistributed from the average person to the financial sector. This always goes to the wealthiest people on the planet, the reverse Robin Hoods. Viewer feedback. I want to say, this is happening to us more and more. I just checked YouTube, unsubscribed me from your channel. So this is happening a lot to us. We are being suppressed now. They don't want you to know this type of information. They don't want you to be able to protect yourself. I say stuff that is sort of against the Federal Reserve and so on. And so now this information is actively being suppressed. They're trying to make sure that you don't get it. So WTF. Even if they unsubscribe me, I can still find your channel. They can't stop me from getting my education. Well, I want to thank you for continuing to try and find our channel. But everybody, if you get unsubscribed, you should check it regularly. If you're not getting your hit that notification bell. If you're not getting notifications, go back and keep on resubscribing. Just keep on doing it. It's a vote for what you want. And so it's a vote for your own freedom of choice. And I want to remind everybody that on our main page, on the videos page, on several of these tabs here, you can, if you go to this little spyglass and click that, a search bar pops up, and if you type something into that search bar, any topic, it searches just within our channel, and you can find my opinion on whatever topic. And there is a wealth of information here. And one of the reasons I'm reminding everybody of this is I have to limit the number of these updates can't be daily anymore. I've been working on some things that I really feel are very, very important. And the daily updates, although I try and make them as educational as possible, they're still something that is dated. So they're here today and gone tomorrow. They're just part of the, that we've got a lot of videos in our on our channel, and they just go into the huge pile of videos, and so it's really stuff that becomes forgotten. I'm currently working on 3 books, 3, and it's really hard to do. Requires a ton of work. I've been working on them for years. And I also have some very important videos, and you can help me. I'm working on one thing that I feel will refute Keynesian economics. I'm trying to do my best to just change the world a little bit and make it a better place than when I leave than when I got here. And so you can help me do that, if you're all right with just getting 2 or 3 of these video updates a week, because I really need to dedicate my time to these important things that I feel are going to help change the world. So now we come to the meme of the day. And this doesn't require a lot of explanation, but this is U.S. and China, but you can just change this to the East and the West. And the East has been accumulating gold for, since before the global financial crisis. This whole century, they've been accumulating gold. The West has been, their gold stocks have been going down in the West. The U.S. hasn't sold any. Canada sold all of their gold. But Europe and the Western Hemisphere have both been dishoarding gold. The central banks and so on, net sellers, where the East have been net buyers. And so when you look at this war, what's real and what isn't? This is a very old meme that we collected years ago, and we just wanted to bring it back. So I'll leave you with that. I want to thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.